Nigeria's immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari, is dead. His former aide, Bashir Ahmad, announced the passing of the former president on X. He wrote, "The family of the former president has announced the passing on of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, this afternoon in a clinic in London. May Allah accept him." President Buhari, who served as Nigeria's civilian president from 2015 to 2023, after previously leading the country as a military head of state between 1983 and 1985, was known for his stance on anti-corruption and efforts to stabilize the economy. Further details regarding burial arrangements are expected to be released by the family in accordance with Islamic rites. Muhammadu Buhari was born on December 17, 1942 in Daura, Katsina State in northern Nigeria. He was raised by his mother following the early death of his father. He received his early education in Daura and Mai Adwa before moving on to Katsina Middle School and later Katsina Provincial Secondary School. In 1963, Buhari joined the Nigerian Military Training School in Kaduna and later studied in the UK, India, and the United States. His military career saw him serve in various command roles, including during the Nigerian Civil War. In 1975, he became the military governor of the northeastern state and later served as Federal Commissioner for Petroleum. Buhari first came to national power in December 1983 when he became Nigeria's military head of state after a coup that ousted the civilian government. His military regime was marked by anti-corruption campaigns and strict discipline. However, he was removed from power in 1985 in another coup led by General Ibrahim Babangida. After years away from the political spotlight, Buhari re-entered politics in the early 2000s, contesting presidential elections multiple times before winning in 2015. As a civilian president, he served 2 terms, focusing on anti-corruption reforms, counter-insurgency efforts, and economic diversifications. His leadership style remained disciplined and austere, shaped by his military background. Buhari married twice, first to Safinatu Yusuf and later to Aisha Halidu. He fathered several children, including Zolehatu and Musa, both of whom predeceased him. His time in office earned both praise and criticism, but he remained one of the most influential figures in modern Nigerian politics. His death, if officially confirmed, marks the end of a significant chapter in Nigeria's post-independence history. Now, joining me to discuss the life and time of former President Buhari, we have Professor Nna from Lagos, while Ejike Okpa joins us from the state of Texas, United States of America. Gentlemen, you're welcome and good afternoon from Nigeria.
Thank you very much and good evening. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Black Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Let's start from, former President Buhari's life and time. What comes to mind when President Buhari is mentioned to you, sir?
Well, is that question for me?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to the other gentleman?
Mr. Ejike, let's start Mr. Ejike.
I don't know.
Are you talking to me? Okay. Nobody dies until that time is up, and at this time, all we can do, those who like him or those who don't like him, is, may he rest. But if we're going to talk about the politics of Buhari, I am one of those people. I don't see anything that he did that is significant. Because when he became head of state, I think I was on my way graduating from college, and all that, controversy, war against the discipline, and it looked like it was something that was going to succeed, or that was something that was going to set Nigeria straight. But then when he came back in 2015, you would have thought, okay, been there before now, let me do something better. What did he do better? He promised the Naira was going to get back to what he was when he was head of state, but that never happened. So, again, this is history. He's passed on. But then, one other thing that I want to bring up in this conversation is they are always dying abroad. Yar'Adua died abroad. Babangida's wife Stella died in LA. Obasanjo's wife Stella died in Spain. So what does it tell you? That Nigeria that claims to have all these, doctors and capable hands, the presidents haven't found a facility in Nigeria that can treat them or give them some sort of treatment, at least while they're going through their illness. Every little thing they run abroad. It's really a shameful thing in 21st century that the most populous black nation in the world that has all these your excellencies, it makes you wonder what is excellent about how they have ruled Nigeria to ruin it. So maybe this is a treatment. This is a situation that is going to make everybody, the political, the led, and the leaders, to come back and say, we got to do better than this. Everybody's going to die. But you don't hear presidents of most countries dying abroad. It's only in Africa you find those things. And Nigeria has made it like it's a right. Tinubu hops abroad any little time, he gets a headache. Everybody, when I met Obasanjo some years ago and asked him, what is it that you see abroad you can't get in Nigeria? He said, hey, I go abroad 2 times a year to get some treatment. Why can't you get a treatment at home? So, that's my comment. My condolences to the family, but, the political legacy of Buhari doesn't mean anything to me.
Now, on to Professor Okpa. Can you also tell us what comes to mind when you hear the name President Buhari?
Thank you very much. And like I said, it's a Black Sunday because Nigeria have lost their former president. Naturally, in Africa, it is not always good to talk ill of a late person. However, we are talking history now. Let's look at it from the historical point of view. In 1984, when Buhari came on board, everybody thought that it was the arrowhead behind the war against indiscipline. But something happened that I've been interrogating before now. That is, if you check the leaders of Nigeria from 1960 to date, it is hard to hear of the former, the deputies or the twices. You will always hear things like the Gowon regime, the Aguilar regime, the Gowon regime, the Mauritania regime, after Mauritania, you had the Obasanjo regime, then Shagari regime. Then, in the case of Buhari, they are saying Buhari Idiabo regime. And people are now asking questions. Why are they calling that regime Buhari Idiabo? My think is that Idiabo was the de facto head of state. Now, if that does not make sense, because I went through this narrative during the 2015 elections, and I told people, I said, listen, I see this man as somebody who is not corrupt, yes, but who does not know how to handle leadership. Because Abacha equally appointed him the chairman of PTF, and he couldn't handle that. He appointed an in-law of his, the consultant that was running PTF. Something happened when Obasanjo took over. Funds were missing, and Obasanjo said, General, we know that you cannot touch public funds, but some funds cannot be accounted for. Can you please tell us what transpired? And he said, no, that he doesn't know anything, that was the consultant. And Obasanjo said, unfortunately, the government did not appoint a consultant. So if there was a consultant, he was appointed by you, which he agreed. Obasanjo said, can you make the consultant available. Let him come and give us a rundown of what transpired in that PTF. However, long story cut short, before the date, the guy was to come and give the account of how he ran PTF under General Buhari. He slumped and died. End of story. So with that, I came to a conclusion that he does not, though he's not corrupt, but he does not want to handle leadership. It's not everybody that's a good leader. He is not one. I can say that without batting an eyelid. And I did say in 2015 that if by any accident he becomes the president, the government is going to run on autopilot. And I wasn't proven wrong. You see, so at the end of the day, we saw what happened. He opened the borders of Nigeria and said Fulanis from every part of the world should come into Nigeria. And then when the headsmen started harassing, he came out strongly and said we should not name them Fulani headsmen. And I remember one or two television stations, I asked a rhetorical question. Do we have Igbo headsmen or Yoruba headsmen? We don't even call outside headsmen. The headsmen we know are Yoruba headsmen because that's their trait. You see, so he lived a life that you can say he could not touch public funds. But the management of the economy, I don't think he had. Look at what transpired under Emefiele as the CBN governor, under him. You see, the guy was running his own show. And at the end of the day, look at the quantum of money that was borrowed, even the one that was printed, and nobody accounted for it. Later, they wanted to manage, to bring it into account. At the end of the day, you discover that a lot of things transpired under him. As an individual, he was a good man. But as a leader, he was not an example to be followed.
So you had mentioned insecurity and human rights, and we know that Buhari's administration faced a lot of criticism, regarding that, even accused of tribal, favoritism. How would you express, your feel in that? Would you say that his policies were fair to all Nigerians?
For the gentleman.
Yes, to you, Professor Okpa.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm not a professor, but thank you for that generous something. Hey, look, Nigeria has had its own share of leaders. The question that needs to be asked is, since the war ended, if we're going to use that as a cut-off date, that is 50-something years ago, which of these leaders have actually inspired Nigerians, actually spoken with Nigerians, as opposed to talking to or talking at Nigerians? That's what needs to happen, because if a country as endowed as and resilient, if I really use that generous word for Nigeria, it hasn't been able to figure things out. This insecurity, has gone on as long as it's gone on. It's where you're using the military to fight your own people. You're not even using the police. You're actually deploying weapons that are usually used against foreign countries on your own people, and yet there are no signs this is going to end. That's what Nigerians needs to be talking about. That's what Nigerians needs to be asking their own leaders. In terms of Israel, I think the economy has collapsed. When I left Nigeria, for US in the late 80s, the ticket I bought, was 698 naira 50 kobo. That flew me from London and then to Dallas. Now today, ask yourself, how much can you get with 698 naira 50 kobo in today's Nigeria? And then you talk about the advent of the civilian administration in 1999. When Obasanjo took over, the currency exchange of dollar to the naira was almost $12,000. Today, If you have 1 million naira, you have less than $700. So, it should be a question: how is it that democracy is working for Nigeria? Because by now the exchange rate should have been on the other side. At least, you have more dollar when you have more naira. But so all of them have failed Nigeria. So Nigerians shouldn't be very tongue-in-cheek when they describe what they are going through. If you are not critical of your own leaders, if you're not questioning some of these things, then you will be taken that you are also complacent. You are an accomplice to their act. So, like I said earlier, all of us are going to pass. But when you are given that responsibility over people, whether at the local level, state level, or federal level, it's no longer about you. It's about these other millions of people that are looking up to you to see what are you going to do differently to enhance their life. It's not the glamour. It's not the glamour that Nigerian leaders show when they get into office. It's not their mansions. It's not their big cars. It's not the vacations their family members take. It's about the average Nigerian. So Buhari, in that order, again, just like Obasanjo, there are the two gentlemen who would have experienced the power they have experienced from the uniformed, men to Agbada men. What did they do for Nigeria? It's not just clamoring for office. What is the after benefit? What is the aftermarket value of ex-Nigerian presidents? What is it? What is Obasanjo doing? What is Buhari doing? What is Babangida doing? All of them just sit around and make comments, that go to inflame what is going on in Nigeria. They should become statesmen, but it's hard for them to become statesmen because, like somebody said earlier, they are tribal men. Nigerians are not citizens because citizens move forward for better ways. Tribal people want to keep what it is they're doing, looking backwards and emphasizing their tribal values over the rest of the country. So, like I said, condolences to Buhari, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying, oh my God, he's gone and Nigeria is going to suffer. Maybe there's somebody else who's waiting to be worse than Buhari. You never know. That's what we have gotten. So, good luck to Nigeria. Good luck to Nigerians. May they begin to look at this stuff. Again, it doesn't tell well that every time a Nigerian political person gets sick, they run abroad. If there's nothing else they want to do, they want to ask whomever is going to be the next president of Nigeria, give us your commitment that if you're sick, you're going to sit in this country with us, or you're going to make efforts that we have medical facilities that are suitable for you, that is suitable for every other Nigerian, as opposed to every time something happens. That's what Nigerians need to demand of their people. You can't just when they get sick, they run away, and then Buhari spent a good number. If you look at the number of days he was gone, it was significant. Sometimes weeks, and nobody knew where he was. He wasn't there at a time they said, the Buhari people were seen at the time was a double body. He wasn't even the real Buhari. I mean, these are the things that, it's like, what is really the truth about anything in Nigeria? And it's because Nigerians enable it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ejike. Now, on to you, Professor Nna. Can you tell us your take on the civilian administration of Buhari?
Well, he brought nepotism and tribalism to bear. In fact, almost all positions, juicy positions, were given to Fulani men. In fact, his regime made it clear. Before now, we used to say Hausa Fulani, but the Hausas were so angry in that regime that when you call an Hausa man, oh, you're from Hausa Fulani, you say, no, I'm an Hausa person, I'm not a Fulani man. So he made us realize that there was a divide between the Hausas and the Fulanis. Because even while he was giving the jobs, he was given majorly to the Fulanis. And the Hausas were not, getting any of those jobs. Then the other side, the south and southeast and what have you, had nothing to show for the 8 years. There was, apart from the statutory position of being a minister, because that one there was no way he could do it. But for other positions, he made sure that it was the Fulanis that he was giving those positions. And that was not too good for us. Like my other colleague is saying in the US, he came and destroyed the economy. I know one emir who said on air that has taken Nigeria 40 years back. And that emir is even a Fulani man. So at the end of the day, that administration was something that took us back. And I know one renowned journalist who equally said that he regretted promoting Buhari, but that he has one solace. And that is that if Buhari was not given the opportunity, that when he dies, people will go to his grave and be dancing, that if this man had become president, Nigeria would have been better. That's the only solace he has, because he disappointed most people in his style of leadership. And that's a fact that nobody can contradict. Because the way he ran the economy, like I said earlier, the economy was running on autopilot. In fact, we had de facto leaders other than himself that were running the economy. He was just there as the figurehead to sign documents. I don't know. I don't want to say more than that because I wanted to say something else. But he was just there to sign documents. And that is it. So that administration was something that Nigerians should take behind them. But like I said earlier, this is a time to send condolences to the family. My condolences goes to the family and to Nigeria, because we've lost a former leader, no matter how you look at it. He was a former head of state of this country. Whether he performed or he didn't perform is a discussion for another day. But for now, let's just wish the family that his passage will bring succor to the family. The family the family should accept our condolences for his passage. Thank you.
Last question for both of you gentlemen. Do you think that history will judge him kindly? Mr. Ejike, you can answer first.
History is history, and there's always going to be, sorry, I'm going to use this expression, even in the Bible, Jezebel had a fan club, Jesus had a fan club. So there are going to be people, no matter what you say, are going to be, on both sides of that. The important is life for the living. I'm not somebody who's caught up on when people are dead. My family, my parents are gone, and siblings. Some of my siblings are gone. I don't wake up every day, because I think about it, but I don't put my energy on what could have happened if they were here. History is going to judge every one of us, whether from a leader or no leader. The point is that while we are living, are we making efforts for a better life? Are we looking at what we missed yesterday and see if we can correct it today? History is usually for some people who have maturity of mind. If you don't have maturity of mind, you can't deal with history, because it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And sometimes, or most times, those of us from the black race, we get caught up on, racism, colonization, slavery. I mean, the world is not a perfect stage. You have to look at, okay, it happened, but it's not going to happen to me, and this is what I'm going to do to make sure it doesn't happen. But putting emphasis on one individual, and that has been the bane of the Nigerian political institution. Individuals matter more than the institutions. When Buhari was there, Godwin Emefiele ran amok. He ran the central bank as if it was a petty casual operation. He didn't say anything. Amechi went and built a University of Transport in Castina. Who does that? You have already some universities. Why are you building a University of Transportation in honor of somebody with public money? Buhari never said anything. So the thing is, are Nigerians willing to learn from these people that what hasn't worked and decide to make a difference and decide to make a change? Change is always there. Change is a constant. What matters is improvement, and the improvement has eluded Nigeria, despite the fact that many Nigerians have education they have traveled abroad, lived abroad, they went home, but they still haven't figured out how to make a country of their own function. You know, a bunch of smart people who are not running a smart country. That's supposed to be what makes them wake up every day, and not somebody who has just died. You know, we're all gonna die, but what it is that we are doing for the living, and that's what my focus is. You know, may Buhari rest, but I ain't gonna. You know, I mean, I live in America. I don't really care about him. But my point is, how about the 200 and so million Nigerians that they wake up every day, don't know whether their salary is going to be paid, whether they're going to get kidnapped. You know, there's no electricity. You know, there are no roads. A whole lot of other things challenging the living, and we are going to spend time honoring the dead. Excuse me, that doesn't work.